I woke up before sunrise, the way I usually did, long before the morning fog lifted off the Blue Ridge Mountains that encircled Asheville like a protective wall. The air was cool, still summer but with a whisper of fall sneaking into the mornings, my favorite kind of weather. The kind that made the city feel like it lived in two seasons at once. But that morning, something felt wrong. Off. Tilted. Not because of the weather, not because of the dull headache behind my eyes, not because of work. Something in the air of our bedroom felt unfamiliar, as if a stranger had walked through the space while I slept. And it was her. Caroline lay next to me, facing away, dark hair spilling over her pillow, breathing slow and even. Too even. Like she was pretending. She never slept this still. I stared at her back, at the rise and fall of her shoulders, at the way she'd cocooned herself under the blanket like a kid hiding from a nightmare. Her phone was on the far edge of her nightstand, not next to her pillow the way it usually was. The screen faced down. She never faced it down. I sat up, rubbed my face, tried to shake the feeling. Maybe I was being paranoid. Maybe I'd had a dream that created this weird heaviness in my chest. Maybe I just needed coffee. But something inside me whispered. Pay attention. So I did. I met Caroline 13 years ago at a street festival in downtown Asheville. Summer heat, food trucks, strangers passing by with local craft beers, music echoing between brick buildings. She laughed when I spilled my drink. I laughed because she laughed. That's how it started. We married 2 years later and built what felt like a peaceful life. She taught English at a local high school, grading essays late into the night with her laptop balanced on her knees. I ran a small woodworking shop on the South End, building custom furniture for tourists and wealthy locals trying to make their mountain homes feel more authentic. We didn't fight much. We rarely yelled. We shared similar values: books, hiking, music, a sense of humor that didn't always land with other people. But the last few months, something had shifted. She worked late. She guarded her phone. She showered immediately when she came home, even when she claimed she'd only stayed late at school. She wore perfume to work when she never used to. She started humming again, quietly, unconsciously, the way she used to when we were first dating, when she didn't yet know she hummed when she was happy. Only now she wasn't humming for me. The day it got worse was a Thursday. Caroline claimed she had a faculty meeting that would run until 7. That wasn't unusual: end-of-semester events, departmental planning, grading nights, all that. But around 5, one of her colleagues, Ms. Hartman, came into my shop to pick up a custom bookshelf. I joked, "You all working Caroline too hard over there?" She says she's stuck in a meeting until late tonight. Hartman gave me a puzzled look. "There's no meeting today. We had one yesterday." I froze. She didn't notice. Or maybe she did but pretended not to. She paid, thanked me, and left. My hands went numb. The smell of sawdust suddenly felt suffocating. I messaged Caroline. "Me, how's the meeting going?" Caroline, "Long boring. You know how they are." I stared at the message until the letters blurred. Something cold crept up my spine, slow and sharp. She was lying. Not maybe. Not possibly. Definitely. And once you know someone is lying, you start replaying everything they've said. Every late night. Every tired smile. Every shower the moment she walked in the door. Every time she angled her phone away from me. The cracks in the mountainside were widening, and everything beneath them, everything we'd built, was beginning to slide. That night, she came home at 7:32 p.m., hair slightly messy, cheeks flushed, smelling faintly of vanilla perfume, too faint for a full school day, too fresh to be old. "Long meeting?" I asked lightly, casually, like my heart wasn't pounding. She paused at the sink, rinsing her hands. Awful. They're planning curriculum changes. She didn't look at me. I nodded slowly, letting the silence stretch. Letting it breathe. Letting her fill it or ignore it. She ignored it. I studied her, the way she pulled her hair up, the way she avoided my eyes, the way her shoulders tensed when she walked past me. These were not the movements of someone burdened by work. These were the movements of someone carrying a secret. She went to bed early. I stayed up late. Too late. Turning thoughts over like stones, checking underneath for something I wasn't sure I wanted to find. At 1:14 a.m., I went to the bedroom. Her phone lit up. A vibration. A flash. Message from AJ. I froze. Not a full name. Just initials. A second vibration. Another message. I miss you already. My legs nearly gave out. I had always wondered how people described heartbreak as physical. How betrayal could feel like a punch. How your stomach could drop, your chest tighten, your hands go cold. Now I knew. I wanted to fling the phone across the room. Shake her awake and scream. Demand answers. Demand the truth she clearly didn't think I deserved. But instead I did nothing. Because once you reveal that you know, you lose the advantage. And I needed clarity. Proof. Not for a court. Not for friends. For myself. Because once you cross that line, once you acknowledge the betrayal, you can never go back to who you were before. The next 2 weeks were hell. She became more distant. I became more careful. I memorized AJ's notifications. I noted time stamps. I watched for clues. She left the house at strange times. Grocery store. Pharmacy. Target. Taking a walk to clear my head. Each time she came back a little too refreshed. A little too relaxed. A little too pleased with herself. One evening, while she was showering, her tablet lit up on the couch, synced messages. One line. One knife. AJ, Sunday can't come fast enough. Sunday. She had told me she was visiting her sister in Charlotte for the day. My vision blurred for a moment. I needed air. I walked outside into the cool night, the cicadas humming in the darkness, the mountains looming like silhouettes of things older and wiser than human betrayal. That's when I made my decision. Sunday, I would follow her. She left at 9 a.m., dressed more nicely than she would ever dress for her sister. Makeup done. Hair perfect. A sundress I hadn't seen in years. Tell Emily I said hi, I said softly as she grabbed her keys. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. I will. She drove off. I waited exactly 10 minutes, then followed. I didn't go to Charlotte. Because she didn't go to Charlotte. She drove west, toward the mountains. Past Candler. Past Canton. Into small towns where no one knew us. She took a left toward a lake. Pulled into a gravel driveway. Parked beside a cabin. And then. He walked out. Tall. Athletic. Maybe 35. Wearing a fitted t-shirt and jeans. Smiling like he'd been waiting all morning just to see her. She ran to him. He lifted her off the ground. And she kissed him, long, familiar, hungry. I watched from the trees, chest tight, teeth clenched so hard I thought they might crack. Hours passed. They went inside. Came out holding hands. Sat on the porch laughing. Went back inside. Each minute was another nail hammered into the coffin of who I thought she was. I could have walked away. Driven home. Pretended this never happened until I had more strength, a lawyer, a plan. But betrayal isn't logical. Around sunset, when the cabin lights glowed warm through the windows, I walked up the porch steps and knocked. Caroline opened the door. Her face went white. She didn't speak. Not at first. Her mouth opened and closed like she couldn't figure out how to form words. Behind her, AJ appeared, confused, then wary. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't tremble. My voice came out calm. Too calm. Tell him who I am. Caroline swallowed hard. This is my husband, she whispered. AJ stiffened. Caroline, what the hell? I laughed. A short, bitter sound. Husband, I repeated. The one you've been lying to for months. The one you texted from my bed. The one you promised you still loved. Caroline stepped forward, hands up like she was approaching a wounded animal. Will, please. We need to talk. You had plenty of time to talk, I cut in. You chose this instead. AJ spoke up, voice low and defensive. Look, man. I shot him a glare sharp enough to slice through steel. Don't, I said. You don't speak to me. This is between the woman who made a vow and the man she broke it with. Caroline's eyes filled with tears. I didn't mean for this to. You didn't mean to get caught, I said. That's all. She flinched as if I'd slapped her. 1,000 emotions moved across her face, shame, fear, regret, maybe love, maybe habit. But it didn't matter anymore. Some lines can't be uncrossed. I stepped back from the doorway. You will not come home tonight, I said. Call me when you're ready to discuss divorce. Will, no, please. We can work on this. I shook my head. We stopped being we the moment you walked into this cabin. I left. Got into my truck. Drove until the mountains blurred into darkness. The next days were a blur of cold air, empty rooms, and sleepless nights. She texted constantly. Please talk to me. I'm so sorry. It wasn't what you think. We can fix this. I didn't respond. Her sister called. Her mother called. Friends called. They all wanted the same thing, a story, an explanation, a plan. I had none. What I had was exhaustion. I met with a lawyer. Changed locks. Moved her things into boxes. Deleted photos. Cancelled anniversaries that would never come. The hardest part was accepting that the woman I loved no longer existed. The version of her I knew had died quietly long before I noticed. And all I had left was a stranger with her face. 2 weeks later, she showed up at my shop. Eyes red. Voice shaking. Will, please. Just hear me. I wanted to ignore her. I wanted to walk away. But closure is a dangerous thing, you think you don't need it, until you do. We sat in the back room among unfinished chairs. She told me everything. She met him at a teacher conference. It started as venting. Then coffee. Then lunches. Then she felt seen again. Then she lied about working late. Then the first time. Then the second. Then she lost count. She said she loved me. She said it was a mistake. She said she hated herself. I studied her, this woman who broke our life apart with soft hands and selfish choices. I believe you're sorry, I said finally. But sorry doesn't undo what you did. Her tears fell hard then. She begged. Literally begged. But I had nothing left to give. No forgiveness. No anger. Just emptiness. When she realized I was truly done, something inside her broke audibly, the kind of sob that scraped at the bones. But even that couldn't change the truth. We signed divorce papers a month later. Asheville looked the same, its quirky shops, its breweries, its mountain skyline. But I wasn't the same. I moved to a smaller place. Worked more. Hiked more. Learned to cook real meals. Learned to sit with silence. Learned that heartbreak is both a wound and a teacher. Caroline moved away, I heard. Maybe to Charlotte. Maybe to another life entirely. AJ didn't stay with her, cheaters never choose each other long term. Sometimes I thought about what happened. Sometimes I didn't. But one truth lingered. Love is fragile. Trust is sacred. And betrayal. Betrayal is the kind of fire that doesn't burn the house down immediately. It smolders. It waits. It destroys slow. And once everything has turned to ash, all you can do is decide what kind of person you'll become next. I chose to rebuild.